Hey, this is Courtney Jackson with CCE All Access, and I'm here right now with one of the top coaches in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and many will say the whole state of Texas, with Mr. Coach Jason Todd of the South Oak Cliff Bears. Coach, I appreciate you coming on the show today. And just kind of give you a little bit of heads up, we're going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
We want to know more about you. We want to know more about South Oak Cliff. And we want to also talk about South Oak Cliff and how South Oak Cliff and CCE are kind of connected. And so first of all, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your coaching pedigree.
Okay, actually I'm a Dallas high school graduate from Lincoln High School.
Okay.
Went to college at Texas Southern, played football for 4 years. Never really had any thoughts about taking, as a player, moving on to the next level. And I always knew I wanted to be a coach. From that standpoint, I came back and began working at Lincoln High School under my former head coach, Reginald Samples. 4-year span there, we got the team to the state championship, lost in double overtime. From there, we transitioned to Skyline when he was approved for that head job. Built Skyline into a national power, into what it is today. From there, I came over with Coach Jones as a defensive specialist, kind of to help out Coach Bond on the defense side of the ball. We went to the 4th round that year, which is the furthest soccer's been in a long time, since I believe 1970. Coach Jones got the head receiver's job down there at Texas Tech, and then I was recommended as the head coach after he left. And from there, I'm just trying to kind of stamp my own name as a head coach and kind of continue to advance myself in the game and just continue to build this program up.
So let's first talk about the Coach Samples thing. 'Cause I think Coach Samples, hats off to him. What he's done over the last 20-some-odd years of coaching high school football. But I look at Coach Samples and I look at somebody like Nick Saban. And I know how Nick Saban has so many guys that he's had as assistant coaches who now are high school coaches. How many of them is it that are now head coaches from the Samples tree?
I know me personally. I know M.T. Tyeski, that's at Conrad. I know James Argini has been underneath him in his advance as a head coach. Emmett Jones was, former head coach at South Oak Cliff. Ronald Johnson, that used to be the head coach of Madison. I believe Marcus Gates was underneath him. That's the head coach of Madison now. Derek Roberson, that's the head coach of Frisco Memorial. I know I'm missing a few, but
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. And one thing that stands apart of all that is that the majority of them are staying in the community. They're staying in that Dallas DISD area, right? The majority of them. To me, all you guys are always kind of tied to the hip, because one thing that hasn't happened in DISD in a long time is a state title.
True.
And you guys have a chance.
Yes, we do.
You guys have a chance. So let's talk about SOC. We always see each other sometimes on Facebook, and we'll see people make comments about they ain't coaching or they just talent searching. How hard is it? Kind of give me a little bit. I don't want to dwell on it real like it's a whole bunch of obstacles, but kind of let people know some of the things that are different as opposed to being in a Frisco heritage, as opposed to being at SOC.
One of the first things people will say is facilities, and that's the first thing you see, when you pull up to a school. We don't have the indoor fields, we don't have a turf field. It's a lot of things we don't have, but what I would say was that won't hold us back from being successful and winning.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a lot of schools that have those different qualities that don't win. Yeah, that don't win. The next thing is probably just that you have to do more besides coaching with the kids that we deal with. Sometimes it may be about them being hungry, or sometimes it may be some family problems going on. So it's really like you're a counselor at the same time you're a coach, along with being a teacher and having to also raise your own kids at home too.
One of the things, and I had a coaching career, it wasn't nearly as long as yours, but I had a coaching career, and one of the obstacles we had is that I felt like I hate going to go see 18 coaches on one sideline, and it was only 8 of us. So that means that scouting we had to all do. We didn't have a middle school theater pattern where the kids had 6 years in our system. Let's talk a little bit about, are there ways of changing that, or is it just something to get over it and just keep on playing?
It's something that you can keep dialogue about and keep letting your ADs and things like that know downtown. But at the end of the day, we can't go for excuses. If we understaffed, that means we have to work hard. We got to do a little bit more. It's kind of how I've been raised in the coaching game, so it's kind of what I expect in it. Coming in at Lincoln, we only had 8 or 9 coaches, so that's what I'm used to. Going to Skyline, we had a little bit more. Coming over to South Oak Cliff, we've been blessed in a situation where we had a little bit more help. Do we have the middle school coaches actually helping us out? One middle school coach from Bow Story, the head coach, he actually does. He helps us on Friday nights, helps us throughout the season here whenever we need him. But as far as the whole staff down there, no, we don't really have control over those guys.
So we understand some of the things that maybe we wish we could have that are better. Let's talk about what everybody has to have in order to be successful, and that's the kids.
Yes.
And you guys have some kids.
Yes.
You know, I think that from watching you guys in the last 2 or 3 years, this may have been your best recruiting class. And I say recruiting because it's always a recruiting situation of just retaining what's supposed to come to you.
Yes.
And you're hoping that you get some kids that maybe say, I want to live in this area. I want to go to school here. Or maybe I want to go to this magnet program, but still be able to come back here and play at SOC. Tell me about this class of 2021 that you guys just had. Y'all won district.
Yeah.
Y'all beat DeSoto's freshman team. Y'all played, I think, Lancaster too.
Yeah, we beat Lancaster.
Beat Lancaster. Didn't lose any games.
Yeah, 10-0.
Then move those guys up. Give me that whole breakdown of those guys and tell me how some of those guys, which a lot of them are CCE top prospects, tell me how some of those guys are going to have a bigger role this year going into your season.
Okay, actually, we knew we were going to have a good class coming in, you know, from some of the kids in the area. Had already expressed the interest of coming to South Oak Cliff for various reasons. From there, so we knew we had a lot of talent, number one. The thing was about finding how hard the kids worked, you know, and the mental part of the game.
Yeah.
A lot of those kids picked it up. They were mature beyond their age, and I attribute that to good homes, you know, where they come from. You know, I had fathers that played in the NFL and played college ball, which helps us tremendously.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, we knew we weren't going to keep them down long, but we knew we wanted to make a statement in playing those DeSoto games and that Lancaster game. And actually, you know, when they played DeSoto, we were missing 3 of our top kids in that game.
That's true.
And, you know, we were still able to pull out the victory, which was big for the kids. From that standpoint, once we passed the Soto game, we knew we were moving 5 of them up, and that was the twins, Jay and John.
Jay and Jalen.
Yeah, I always mess
Jai and Jalen.
Yeah, Jai and Jalen, Markevian Titus, which was the quarterback down there, Jacorian Owens, and Jimmy Wyrick. And those guys came up and kind of found out the difference. We kind of treated it like a red shirt uniform.
Yeah.
You know, the linebackers, they kind of found out it was more physical in practice now than it was for them playing games. They weren't the biggest kids anymore. So I think they had tremendous growth that year. Jimmy was able to get real hands-on coaching from the defensive back coaches and Coach Ward, and it kind of developed his growth. Markevian kind of got a taste of it at quarterback some, and just being an athlete, where he saw the jump even between teams that weren't considered very good, but just the varsity level overall. Then from that standpoint, we had Jacorian Owens. He was a kid that was a speedster, but he got a chance to see how DBs play him at the upper level. And from that standpoint, it just, you know, took off. And, you know, even Jimmy started about 6-7 games as a freshman.
Second team all district.
Second team all district, and, you know, to be one of the top, you know, D-backs coming in the near future for Texas.
So you have a lot of promise with those younger guys.
Yeah.
But you and I both know you can't depend on sophomores to win a district title and to go 4 or 5 rounds deep. Let's talk about some of those kids. I think you guys got one of the best linebacker crews around.
Yes.
And let's talk about you with the linebacking crew and why I hear parents say, hey, I'm taking my son to Todd because ain't nobody gonna coach linebackers, but then he gonna get coached right there anyway.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of those linebackers. Let's talk about your team. And just give me a little bit of information on that.
Okay, pretty much. Linebackers is all going to start with Darian Clark. He's the heart and soul of the defense. He'll be a 3-year starter, 2-time All-State. Like I pulled him into the office before the spring started, I told him his team going to go as far as he takes us.
He's a sideline to sideline
He's
player.
a sideline. He's been playing defensive line for us out of necessity in the past, but his natural position has always been linebacker. So we moving him home. It kind of hurt his recruiting some, but when people came out and see him in the spring, they saw what we knew. From that standpoint, he's the heart and soul. The person next to him would be DeQuavian Love. He's a kid that's a big physical kid.
And he started at Carter.
It started at Carter as a freshman.
He was ranked in the magazine at Carter.
Exactly.
So that's a great pickup in the situation for you to be able to get it. And so those 2 kids.
Best friends too.
Those 2 kids, and I'm going to get to that too on it, is that, you know, I was talking to the Baylor coach and he said, man, the hardest spot to recruit in Texas is linebacker.
Yeah.
You actually have 2. Won't get transferred over to safety, won't get moved back.
Yes.
You guys have 2 true D1 linebackers.
Yes.
Tell me, what kind of system do you run now? Do you change the system up, or is it just going to be the same system with those 2 guys there?
Pretty much what happens, going into this year, we looked at going to more of a 4-3 package. You know, we've also got Ja, you know, that's a heavily recruited guy that's coming to his sophomore year. We got probably about 2 or 3 other guys that we think will be Division I linebackers also. So we came to the year kind of working on a plan where we get more of those guys on the field. My background has always been if a linebacker can play, we'll play him anywhere. So, you know, from Corey Nelson, Anthony Wallace, all those guys I had at Skyline in the past,
True statement.
you know, they play defensive end. And I think that teaches the kid how to use his hands, how to get off blocks, how to better understand the defense when they do jump back behind everybody at that point. So, you know, we got a good young coach that works with him named Coach Daniels. He actually played linebacker at the University of Houston. And he's doing a good job with him. Still got to have some more growth to keep getting them better, but we're on the right path.
So we talked a lot about defense.
Yeah.
And you're a defensive head coach, and
Yes.
that's your pedigree.
Yes.
But you got to score points in Texas.
Got to.
So last year, I felt like the offensive system was there. It wasn't as explosive as it was 2 or 3 years prior when you guys had all those guys that were top-rated kids. Tell me about the offense now and how has it changed any? Are you guys going to condense it more to being more of a power team, or y'all going to stay with the trend is, which is spreading everybody out and playing more isolation football?
You know, when it comes to offense, you're exactly correct. I've been a defensive guy. I've been around great offenses, but I hadn't coached it. So I do understand that that's a big learning curve for me as a head coach. One thing that I do have to admit is losing Coach Jones and him leaving, you know, that affected that side of the ball tremendously. What I can say is now I think we kind of found our way and kind of found our own identity for the new soccer offense going forward, which will be displayed this year. We're going to run the ball at people, and we're going to attack the middle of the field. We're not going to ask linemen to be finesse guys. We're going to get behind them. We're going down here this year. But we also, at the same time, we had to spread the ball around. You know, and get it to the guys on the perimeter too. But they understand now it starts up front. And the same way Darian Clark is on defense, is Sean Sims is going to be the heart and soul of the offense. He has to make it go.
You know, I was reading, I didn't even realize Sean Sims had another year left.
Yes.
So that was actually a good situation
Yes.
getting him, because last year, if it had only been a one and done, it would have kind of been redundant. You
Yes.
have him in there and then he's gone, you got to start all
Yes.
over again. But having him a second year, do you have a backup to him? Who's that backup? Because oftentimes in the high school football,
Yes.
you're only as good as your depth.
And that's the McKeevy and Titus kid we talked about that we moved up last year. Actually, he got all the reps in the spring. Sean plays baseball and broke his pinky, so he was out the entire spring. So I made Skeeter, we call him Skeeter. I made Skeeter, he was live the whole spring. And
so he's getting used to that big boy hitting and
he
everything
took a
else, and getting used to the speed of the game.
Yeah, he took a pounding this whole spring. But what I can say was he operated the offense, you know, better than what I thought he would as a true freshman, you know, running this spring. And I think he's got tremendous capabilities to run the offense in case Sean goes down. And he just has to be ready for it.
So we've talked to Coach Todd about all the players on the team. We've talked to him about a little bit about what they're going to be doing on offense and defense for next year. But now we want to get back to him and talk to him about that defense and offensive staff that he has. A lot of people say this might be one of the most talented staffs he's ever had before all together. We'll be back with more. This is CCE All Access High School Edition. It's Courtney Jackson, CCE All Access, and we're with the high school edition. And I'm standing here with one of the top coaches, I told you guys, from the DFW area, and even the state. I can go ahead and say state now, Coach.
Yeah, you
go 4 or 5 rounds, you go 3 or 4 rounds, I can say state now.
Yeah,
This is Jason Todd of South Oak Cliff Bears. We're right here in the heart of the locker room. Coach, before we get started with the coaching staff, tell me a little bit about why are we here right now? What's going on with soccer?
We're actually having major renovations over there at the current school. It's like 85% renovations. They're also adding gymnasiums, putting a new front exterior on the school. So it's really condemned at this point, and that's all areas of the school, even all the way down to the football field. So from that standpoint, you know, we had to relocate in the middle of the year, which was tough. Kids had to make that transition, which was tough, but you know, we adapted.
So relocate middle of the year.
Yes.
Not many people doing that.
No.
Kids, this is not what you want it to be.
Yes.
It don't look like it's on the north side, right?
No, it doesn't.
And you don't have a home stadium.
Yes.
And I say all these things because in my eyes, some people can grow roses with fertile soil and it's real easy.
Yes.
You got some nice soil, you water it,
Yes.
get a little sunlight, you make a rose.
Yes.
South Oak Cliff, Skylines, all these top programs inside DISD, I say this, not 20 years ago like it used to be. Now, it's roses that are growing, but they're growing through concrete.
Yes.
They're growing despite some obstacles. And obstacles are when kids are not having the same things, but you guys are working to get those things.
Yes.
So as a coaching staff, I know that kind of hinders you guys a little bit. We talked earlier about later in the season, daylight savings time, and you guys want to have a practice and it gets dark early.
Yes.
No lights.
Yes, exactly.
So when you hear people on Facebook and they talking about this ain't coaching or this is not that or whatever the case may be, tell these people out there what kind of work that goes on the DISD staff inside.
It's a non-stop job. Sometimes it can start at 6 in the morning and not even be over with until 12 o'clock at night. We put a lot of hours in, a lot of hours, like this summer, we don't really get a summer break. We're up at school every day this summer, pretty much from sun up to sundown, because we got to make sure that we can adapt and be there for our kids at the different times they need.
And your kids your kids are living in the South Oak Cliff area, but you guys are having to go work out where? How far away?
We actually lived here at the campus, the temporary campus, but we have to ride the bus either to Sprague or Kincaid.
But I'm saying your kids live in the South Oak Cliff area.
Yes.
They have to find a way to get here.
Yes.
And then you guys will get busing to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Whereas somebody else who was just everything was in their area.
Yes.
So when I coached, I had kids that actually hopped on metro buses.
Yes.
You guys probably had the same thing.
Yes, we do.
Different thing than somebody driving up there in the car into it.
Yes.
So your coaching staff, when you hire a coaching staff, in my eyes, you got to hire somebody who's multi-talented. They got to be able to multitask.
Yes.
They just can't be used to. They got to tape some ankles every once in a while.
Yeah, they have to coach.
Yeah, you got to be able to coach and do
That's
everything.
the little boy.
And just for everybody out there that doesn't know, in Texas, in UIL, every coach has to be certified. You have to go pass a test in order to be able to teach and coach. So, Coach, when you have that and you're getting your staff together, tell me about your staff. Tell me about your offensive staff first.
The offensive staff, the offensive coordinator is John Woodruff. He had been here as the quarterback coach. I also served the quarterback coach when Coach Jones was here.
Okay.
He actually took over for Coach Medice that actually got a promotion and went down
to Lamar.
Lamar University down in Beaumont. So he's the receiver coach down there now. Going from that standpoint, goes to two guys that I work with at Skyline, Coach Wayne Ingram and Coach Nicholas Phillips. Both of those guys spur up the offensive line. I worked with those guys in the past, so that was an easy transition for me. Then we got a great young running back coach named Keith Davis that pours a lot of energy into these kids also. And then we also just hired a new receivers coach, Joseph Smith. And I also have a couple of guys that kind of work with the guys that are trainers, as far as sharpening up their skills on times we can't work with them on the offensive side of the ball. And it's a couple of other coaches that work at the freshman level. Like we got Coach Sterling Porter, he works at the freshman level. I know I'm gonna leave somebody out,
but the main thing of it is that I think that that's the staff you have.
Yes.
And so these kids are getting quality coaching.
Yes, they are.
They're getting quality coaching.
Yes.
So let's talk about with quality coaching. The next part of it is we all can talk X's and O's and we all can know X's and O's, but it's about execution and it's about discipline and execution.
Yes.
Tell me about the execution process. What are you guys doing? Because I think that when you get to the third and fourth round, those two words come into play. Will you execute all the time and will you have the discipline?
Yes.
It's too much of a cliche.
Yes.
We hear it all the time on Facebook and everything else. They think, and I want to say this, they want to say that the black kid, the inner city kid, the kid that's an all black staff, they don't have any discipline.
Yes.
Tell me what you think to that.
I don't agree with it. I think sometimes you have to look at kids and understand their circumstance too.
Okay.
And by me saying that, how I define coaching is knowing football. But it's a difference between coaching and being a teacher of football. See, a coach can tell a kid what he's doing wrong, but a true teacher can show the kid the steps in order to improve what he's doing. So, it's kind of like with a lot of, people that judge things from afar and think they could do a better job from afar. They may can as a coach, but they can't teach it to the kids and get the kids to execute what they're trying to teach. And I think that's the thing that we really harped on this summer is not just did the kid get the job done, but did he go about the correct steps in getting the job done? Because we know later on down the road when you playing those Alitos and Highland Park and those type of teams, it comes down to execution. It's not just by getting the job done, because if he's getting the job done the wrong way, then eventually it's gonna hurt the team in the end.
And I hear the things talking about discipline, and they talk about kids, and I always say that certain people have to discipline kids differently.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. And we're dealing with kids that are, in your program, is going to be 95% black.
Yes.
And that's almost all through the southern sector.
Yes.
When you get a kid who has some kind of emotional situation, he blows up and he says, I quit. Some coaches can say, go.
Yes.
Don't ever come back. Tell me how, as you as a black man, as a coach, can you fall in that philosophy with the kids in this community?
No. Like I said to the parents yesterday at the parent meeting, we don't give up on kids, because even when we were kids, we made mistakes. And if somebody treated us that way, we'd be where we are right now today.
So what is that kid gonna do?
Yeah.
Where is that kid gonna be?
Exactly.
If everybody gives up on them.
Exactly.
In this community.
Mm-hmm. And ask yourself, if somebody gave up on you at the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, you didn't even have a true understanding of life yet. Yeah. So, our philosophy is, number one, is we want to have a relationship with the parents. Mm-hmm. If we have a good relationship with the parents, that means we can keep the kid in the middle. Yeah. And, the kid can't bounce, because what normally happens is the kid will be like, well, they can go home and say something. If you don't have a relationship with the parents only hearing the kid's side.
Parents would know that you got what's best for the kid interest.
Yes, because I'm calling the parent before the kid can even get this phone.
There it is.
The mama's going to tell me, handle it, coach, whatever way y'all deem,
And whether you like it or not, that's part of coaching.
Yes, that is.
That's part of coaching. I think sometimes coaches get kind of caught up into, we're going to call plays. Yes. We're going to make X's and O's. We're going to draw stuff on the board.
I wouldn't run.
And it's just we're going to run and condition. But it's really, you're trying to develop kids. To me, the high school kid is a harder kid to coach than the college kid who's on scholarship.
Yes.
Because the high school kid kind of thinks that he has it, but he hasn't proven it yet. Yes. And everything he's given at that point in time is somewhat free. Yes. When you get to college, you're working on somebody else's dime.
Yeah. Or you can go home.
Yeah, you can go home, and it's evident you can go home.
Yes.
And so, before we get off into more of that, let's talk about the defensive side of the staff. Are you the play caller on the defensive side? Are you the coordinator?
No, I'm giving that capacity up. I just give input sometimes throughout the week.
How hard is that in a big game?
It has been hard, because I felt we played good, solid defense. Okay. So if nothing going wrong, like I tell the coaches, whatever idea you want to put out, I'm for it if it works. Okay. And they've shown the ability to get the job done.
Give me some of those names of some of those guys.
Okay, start with the defense coordinator, Kyle Ward, brings a lot to this staff, as far as, sometimes you need that guy to say and do the things that makes everybody else uncomfortable at times. Yeah. Also got Avery Daniels, the linebacker coach. Got Dominique Spencer, a guy I used to coach at Skyline, defensive line coach.
So younger, somebody got the energy.
Yeah, he's like me 15 years ago. Yeah. So that allows me to chill sometimes. Mm-hmm. I also have Michael Traylor, recruiting coordinator, who works with the defensive line, also does a tremendous job as far as promoting the program. Make sure these kids get to school and all things like that. I know I'm leaving somebody else out, but those are core guys that are on the varsity staff. So
we've heard from the offensive side of the staff, and we've heard from the defensive side of the staff. And the last part that you said, that I think that's the most important, is that you guys are working to get these kids into school.
Yes.
So right now, I know about Ludd, I know about the other linebacker, both of those Clark, both of those boys, they D1 all day long.
Yes.
Tell me about how many offers right now, how many kids have offers right now in the program?
I know Clark is committed to Arizona right now.
That's a bad decision over Arizona State.
No,
we got to get a Sun Devil. We got to make him be a Sun Devil.
Hey, Coach Jason, Coach Sumlin did a good
job. Shout out to Sumlin,
but
I mean, golly. Okay, go ahead.
I also have Bobby Holmes, our DB. He's committed to ULL right now. I also work Coach Ward, play college ball also. Okay. We have Stephen Parker, the defensive end. He's committed to Texas Tech. Been a verbal commit to them since he was a sophomore. We have DeAndre Dansby, who has multiple offers right now. He's kind of waiting to play his way through his senior year. He's a DB. He'll play nickel for us, and he also play safety and corner. We also have Sean Sims that has a few offers as an athlete at the next level. It's pretty much going to come down to him deciding does he want to
play linebacker.
Yeah.
Or does he want to stay at quarterback?
Yeah, stay at quarterback. But it's a lot of guys that are interested in him. We got a kid named Davion Wheeler, has about 2 or 3 offers right now. He's about 6'4", about 220, defensive end, receiver, tight end type. Probably one of the fastest kids in the program. Taylor Arrington, the offensive lineman, has been a 3-year starter for us. He has a lot of FCS offers right now. A lot of D1s are looking at him this spring and really interested.
He's about to be a senior this year.
About to be a senior this year, and that's just for the senior class. And it can go on with that class. When we come to the junior class, it's kind of led by a kid named Anthony Foz, the big lineman for us. We're looking for him to really.
CCE top prospect in the magazine.
Yeah.
He has the whole frame.
Yeah,
he has everything that needs to be.
Yeah, we're just looking for that main street.
It's time.
And it's time for it to click now. I also have a guy, John Davis, that started for safety for us last year. He's in that class also, is getting recruited by, Stanford's and, all the schools, Cal, all across the country. Very smart kid also. Raekwon Pinkston is probably one of our best pound-for-pound players. He's just short in stature, but the guy's got a tremendous ability, and he's a hell of a football player. He's actually started on the defensive side of linebacker from his freshman year and sophomore year. We're moving him over to the offensive side of the ball this year, along with our starting running back, KC Cook, who's a returning starter from last year when Cedric Tatum got hurt. KC's he's the heart and soul of the team. He's one of those kids that he's not afraid to put in the work.
So he's had about 14 kids already.
Yes, and I even got to.
And I told you about his 2021 class.
Yeah, hadn't even got to those guys.
So, what do you say to the people? Because I know, we see each other and I see you at games.
Yeah.
And I think you are somebody who's entrenched into this city.
Yeah.
In your area. In South Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
I work at DeSoto High School. And we have about 5 or 6 people right now who said SOC.
Yeah.
They either came from soccer or whatever. Tell me about what it means to be a South Oak Cliff Golden Bear.
The true meaning of that, my mother actually graduated from here. I had an uncle that graduated from soccer back in the 70s. So growing up, you always heard those stories about, how great soccer was, the best band, the best basketball team, the best football team, everybody going to TCU, everybody getting recruited with new cars in the parking lot. My grandfather was also the principal here for 14 years. And, which allowed me to be around when Coach Gales was here, when Coach Gary Blair was here. I really wasn't old enough to remember the whole situation with him and Coach Jett, but my grandfather actually fired the most successful coach that had been here, Coach Norman Jett, which was a Caucasian man. So I kind of feel like I'm here, and my purpose is to do something that he didn't do as a coach, and no other coach has done here, and that's to win a state championship. And also, to better these kids, to have them go off to school, come back, and then help bring up the next crop of kids.
So what I get is I see a sense of family.
Yes.
And I see a sense of, sometimes, I want to say tradition, but tradition sometimes have lapses.
Yes.
And it's been a little bit of a lapse. And I think with Emmett and you taking over, you guys are set to go in the right direction for years to come.
Yes.
It might come a time when you win a lot of games and a college says, hey, coach, want to come this way?
Not going. Never been a goal of mine.
Might come a time where somebody out there where they got a nice set of football stadium. Oh man, we can get you all kind of uniforms. We're gonna get you a pay raise. Oh, you want 14 coaches? We'll give you 20 coaches. Better opportunity, all kind of stuff. You gonna say?
Not until my job is done here. I came here for a reason.
And your job is?
To get a state championship to this school in this city.
Say it one more time, Coach.
To bring a state championship to a school in this city.
So that means if you got to go through the Lidos, what's gonna happen?
We got to go through them.
You got to go through them.
Yes.
I know you, my little cousin Coco, you talked to him about Red Oak.
You
got to go through the Red Oaks.
Yeah,
you got to go through the Chris Gilberts and all those different teams through there. Before we get out of here, we're going to talk about the season coming up. We're going to talk about some of the teams you have to play against. And we're just going to sum it up with SOC at the end of it. This is Courtney Jackson, All Access High School Edition. We'll be back with more. Courtney Jackson, CCE All Access High School Edition, and I'm standing here with the head coach, Jason Todd. Coach, this is our last segment. And we talked about the team, we talked about the infrastructure, we've talked about some of the obstacles, we talked about a lot of optimism you guys have with all the talent y'all have. Y'all deep in talent, y'all rich in talent. I talk to kids all the time, and I talk to kids that are 8-year-olds all the way up to 14-year-olds. And a lot of those kids, Jimmy Wire was my #1 kid when he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
He was #1 kid in the magazine. My first ever magazine was #1 kid. He had this, and that at that age. And Jai and Jalen were also in that magazine.
Yes.
We've had a lot of kids come through the program. A lot of those kids are with you right now.
Yes.
But I would interview them and I would ask them this question. I would say, in your order, which one is the most important when you choosing a school? Now, we always preface it towards a college, but I would say, is it the coaching style of play? Is it the uniforms, or is it the academics?
Okay.
And most of the kids would say, what you think?
Probably uniforms first.
Uniform. So let's kind of see a little bit about soccer. I came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had a home jersey, you had a away jersey, one pair of pants.
Yeah.
That was it. Every once in a while, you might see a Carter, Skyline, who probably were the most prominent 2 programs or whatever, or Kimball, be able to have changed up something.
Yeah.
Let's kind of see what you guys got right now. Let's hold it up for the cameras a little bit and be able to see it.
This is one of our white jerseys that we have. We just went to Adidas last year, and the kids really love it.
And you can kind of see how this Adidas jersey has stretch to it. Coach gave me an example of saying this could fit on a 150-pound kid or a 300-pound kid.
Yeah.
So that's a white jersey.
That's a white jersey. And then, we always have to stay true.
With your goal.
To make sure we have a goal.
Wearing that deuce right there. Same thing with that. And this is Adidas, so there's 3 stripes on these jerseys.
Yeah. And then, we have our black jerseys also.
Then they have a black jersey. So I'm going to pull up the helmets. I know you got the jerseys right now.
Yeah.
And so let's go to the first one. You got the bear claw on both sides. And then you guys can see that right there. It says SOC. For anybody out there that may be from a part of Houston or somewhere outside of Texas, and you think that stands for something else, it stands for South Oak Cliff. And it's a song that says, that's my hood, right? Oak Cliff, that's my hood. But we put it South Oak, all the time in there. So this is a location school. Goes way, way back. How long has this school been out?
It's 1952.
1952. So you got the white helmet. So they can go white helmet with all kind of different kind of combinations.
Yeah, then we have a black helmet that we haven't put the new decals on the black helmet, but they're going to be real nice.
That's going to be the one I think I saw with the Texas on there?
Yeah. Well, we got that, but we also got another special design that
I like that. I like that design on that.
Yeah.
So you see the black. So they got white and black. And then give me the last one, Coach. I love all this. I love all. Wayne will tell you, I'm big on all this uniform stuff. Now this is probably the more innovative one of all of them. This is called chrome?
Yeah, just the gold chrome.
Gold chrome.
Yes. And we're going to have this is the helmet that'll have a very special decal. We won't wear it often, but when we do, we come to play, and it's for a reason.
So, Coach, y'all got 3 sets of helmets.
Yes.
Y'all got numerous jerseys.
Yes.
You got Adidas gear on.
Yes.
Y'all got tons of D1 athletes.
Yes.
You coming.
Yes.
You got a schedule this year.
Yes.
For everybody that doesn't know, in Texas, every 2 years, they do a UIL realignment, and you're able to go pick your games.
Yes.
It's crazy in there, right?
Yes.
You're trying to go pick the games and stuff like that. I've heard about it, never been inside there. Coach, it's crazy inside there.
Yes.
Then I saw your preseason schedule, and I say, this dude is crazy. Coach, tell me who y'all start off with.
We actually start out playing Skyline August 31st at Kincaid Stadium.
Skyline. We're going to cover that game.
Yes.
We're going to do the radio broadcast of that game.
Yes.
So, who y'all scrimmage first, though?
Bishop Dunn.
Okay. So, let me break this down for y'all. They go Bishop Dunn first. Bishop Dunn is a private school that has a lot of D1 athletes.
Yes, they do.
They don't have they're struggling on the line, though, Coach.
Yeah, well, hey.
They're struggling on the line a little bit. But they got a lot of D1 athletes. Then y'all go to play against Skyline.
Play Sky. Herman Johnson led.
6A program, the largest inner city school in Texas.
Yes.
Over 5,000 kids in the school.
Yes.
Next week.
Got the big boy Dunkerville.
Then you got your sensei. You got Sample, okay?
Yeah.
In Duncanville, the biggest suburb school in the southern sector.
Yeah.
In Duncanville with Coach Samples. Who's next?
After that, we play Wilma Hutchins.
Y'all come on back.
Kind of rivalry game.
You come on back down.
Yeah.
Come on back down. Because to let everybody know, they on the same level. They got the same kid, but they are 5A. So it means their school population is not as big as the 2 teams they're playing against first. You guys are probably about 1,800?
No.
Not even that much.
We're like at 1,100.
There are 1,100 kids in the school. And they're going to go see Skyline. That's got 5,000. They got a kid over there that's a CCE top prospect quarterback.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
Yeah, he is a bad boy.
Then they got Duncanville. Got another CCE top prospect, JJ.
Yeah, he got a lot of bad boys.
But that's going to, why do that? That's what I want to ask you. I know why, I want you to tell everybody. Why do you do that?
We do that because we want our kids to understand the level we're striving to play at later on, which is in November and December. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to get there, we could schedule a 10-0 schedule, and I can pad my record as a head coach, but that doesn't make us a better team. And I kind of learned that from underneath Coach Sam. But once you get the program to a certain point, you got to kind of step off and play games that you know you're capable of losing or winning based on how good you play that night.
Because I can guarantee you, that week in practice, you got everybody's attention.
Yeah,
because they know that it can get ugly
Yeah.
if you don't bear down and take care of your business. If you're not attention to detail, that can be the case. I think the second thing of it is, and I want to tie this into CCE at the end of it. With SOC in their program, with that recruiting class you guys had, and being able to go play against Lancaster, beat Lancaster, Lancaster is a
freshman team, yeah.
Freshman team.
Yeah,
They're more of a southern sector suburb team. DeSoto is more of a southern sector suburb team. And in the past, that's been a hard feat for the inner city DISD team to go beat their freshman teams.
Yeah.
Y'all won both of those. We had a great recruiting class. About 4 or 5 of those kids will be Division I guys out of that class, at least.
Yes.
You got another class coming.
Yes.
So I think what you're trying to create and what you're creating is that Coach Samples, with all due respect, I'm getting kids just like you.
Yeah.
We just on the 5A level.
Exactly.
And if we can play with y'all, who's a top 10 team in the state on a 6A level, we're gonna be able to play with any 5A team.
Yes.
All the way through.
Yes.
And y'all are getting that depth. I heard about all your seniors and now all the freshmen that you guys have and sophomores in your program. The last thing we tie into is the Little League. Tell me how important Little League is to you and these coaches knowing more about the game, and how can it help SOC in the future?
We're big believers in the Little League, in the youth football leagues. That's kind of growing up. When I was a kid, all you heard was about the Oak Cliff Redskins, or
Big saying the Dragons.
Yeah, the Dragons with Calvin Goldsmith.
Yeah, there it is.
The Trojans at Pleasant Grove, or the South Dallas Saints at St. Phillips. So we know how big that is. So we're always out. Watching the future of football, giving them the insight and help that we can to make sure those kids and coaches have anything they need, as far as just knowledge with the game and things like that.
And the big thing that I want to close with is that the kids are your future.
Yes.
Sometimes we neglect the kids. The parents are your future parents.
Yes.
You're almost in the customer service business. And I can tell the parents here, I got a lot of parents that follow me and listen to me. Folks, we're standing right here in one of the best programs in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and in the state. This man and his staff is dedicated to winning. And they're not talking about just winning on the level of winning the DISD district title. They're talking about going 6 rounds deep and bringing home and hoisting the trophy and changing the culture and the dynamic inside of football in Dallas. Because it's been over 30 years now.
Yeah, it's been too long.
30 years, right?
Yeah.
Almost 30 years since a DISD team has won a state title game. The last time a DISD team made it to a state game
was 2004 at Lincoln High School.
You were on the sideline.
Yeah, well, sure was.
He's on the sideline, folks. So this man knows what it takes in order to get back there. He's assembling a crew that's going to help him get there. And what he needs is the top kids. The kids that want to be in black and gold with a little bit of white, wearing 3 stripes, getting coached up, going to college, being accountable, and ready to win a lot of games. That's what South Oak Cliff is about. It's a family, it's a culture that they're creating here, and either you're gonna be with it, or like they say, you might get run over. This is Courtney Jackson, CCE All Access High School Edition. We'll be back with more.